General Fannie Masemola has commended the police operation that led to the killing of now 19 suspected cash-in-transit robbers in Makhado. That's in Limpopo on Friday. Law enforcement officials on Saturday evening finally took out the remains of those who died, who were involved in that attempted cash-in-transit heist. It took over 24 hours for law enforcement to comb the entire scene. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala is part of our team watching developments, and she joins us now live. And some time has now passed since this incident took place, Nqobile, but police are still keeping a presence there.
Well, definitely, and I want to show you, these are some of the police that obviously came to monitor just what's happening in the area this morning. As you can see, this is the house that has been in question. This is where everything took place, where we understand that there was that shootout between the police as well as some of these guys that are alleged to be CIT heist suspects. We do understand that 19-minute shootout took place here. As you can see, the house still has some of those bullets holes. We saw that the police were able to take out the 19 bodies that came out of this house. We do know now that the families will be going to the mortuary, which will be tomorrow, where they're going to be identifying some of those people that were shot here. And of course, we understand that last night as well, the family of this couple that lived in this place were then allowed last night to be able to go inside. Just last night, some of them were outside, even though they didn't want to speak to TV. They did say that they wanted to go inside. Some of them lived inside the house with the couple, and so they needed some of their clothes and so on. So the community, again, still very much shocked. It's a Sunday. It's more calmer than what we saw from the past few days. But most of the community is still just shocked in terms of what happened. Yesterday, what we saw as well is that they continued to also investigate the two houses that were affected. One which we understand is on the right-hand side of this building, and we saw some of the teams that were from the forensics going inside to sort of check how they were affected. But on the right-hand side as well, we know that we have another neighbor that was affected, where there was a couple of bullets that have been counted to have affected that house. We understand that at this point it's roughly about 8, but of course the police would know once the investigations are finished. This house in particular had a lot of bullets that were shot towards them, in which we understand at this point that the police are still in communication with the family to understand who was shooting towards there. But of course it's opposite. We understand that there were a lot of teams that were on the ground. So this became a battleground, of course, in that 90-minute shootout that took place. But families will be going to Chilizeni Hospital on Monday to identify some of their loved ones, because yesterday we started to hear some of the families that were coming here saying they didn't even know that their family members had friends in this area. And so a lot of them are still in shock and still trying to understand what really took place in this area. But calm has been restored in this neighborhood.
And Nqobile, what have you been able to ascertain about who lived in that house and in what ways they were connected to this attempted cash-in-transit syndicate, essentially? Because officials have told us that as soon as they approached that address, already some of the suspects were firing at them.
Yes, we do understand that this investigation I undertook started early this year. We understand that some of the guys that were here were part, or rather, the 19 people are suspects that are part of the syndicate, which we were told by the Hawks that has been operating in various provinces. And this, of course, would be in Mpumalanga, Limpopo, as well as Gauteng. So the people that lived in this house are, of course, suspected to be part of that CIT heist syndicate that has been operating. The Hawks saying that the investigation has taken some time. When they came here on Friday, it was the day that they had decided that they would be able to then speak to them or corner them. But based on what has been found in this house as well, shows that there was quite a lot that was taking place here, because there were guns that were found. We saw bomb units coming in here, explosive units going inside to check, and we understand that there were explosives that were taken from this house. So all these 19 people has been presented as suspects in the CIT heist that was going to obviously take place within the area. But of course, when we spoke to the National Commissioner, he did explain that there's been a rise, or a remarkable rise. He explained it as a remarkable rise in CIT heist, and these were some of the people that lived in this house, were some of that people that are part of the syndicate. And of course, you'll see that there Maxwell is showing you the bullets that basically went through this gate. So quite a lot. You'll remember that this was 90 minutes shootout between the different, or the various task teams between the police and these syndicates, or rather the suspected CIT heist individuals. In this very house where you are watching at this point, this is the garage, and we saw the forensics team when they were working last night taking some of the remains from the garage, which will basically mean that these were some of the people were behind this door when they were shooting, when the shootout was taking place between them and the police. And we saw the police forensics team taking out at least about 3 bodies from this garage, specifically inside. You'll remember that when they were doing their investigation and when they were still combing the scene, just this area alone, which is the front yard, had about 2 bodies, which were the first ones that were taken out, and then they continued with the investigation. They continued with their investigation as they were going inside. We know that there were a lot of teams that were here, IPID being one of those teams that were part of this area to check what really happened. Of course, you'll remember that in this shootout, it's important to note if the police acted accordingly. So IPID became that eye to come see as well. And we understand that there were various other teams as well that came to see the scene. It took quite a long time, over 24 hours, with some of these teams not sleeping between Friday and Saturday because they were still combing the scene. But of course, families now will be able to identify their loved ones from Chiladini's mortuary, Chiladini's hospital on Monday.
Right, and what a story it is. Nqobile Madlala, thanks very much indeed. Live to us there from Makhado in Limpopo.